through our relationship, he's built himself. I contribute because I care about the betterment of my friend. I do the same, if not more, in my romantic relationships. So, again, also these relationships have happened through healing. And there's something to be said about having it all and still going through some of the darkest moments in your life and needing that community and needing that healing and needing that support through that, which is possible. So, again, I ask you, if you take time to reflect on maybe some of this rhetoric is coming from a place of you're still experiencing it because of these unhealed parts, and also perchance because of, because when you talk, I don't just hear passion, I hear anger, I hear frustration, I hear a little bit of like when a man's fed up. Like, could there be room for some self admittance, perhaps?
I mean, not before I feel like I feel like his aggression and his anger and his passion is warranted by his friend. I don't feel like it's out of place. I feel like he is pushing a certain, agenda, and he's not wrong in a lot of the shit that he's saying. You know what I'm saying? I don't have to be in 100% agreement.
But do you think that, like, saying that it's most and all, like, because most of the women in my life and men in my life weren't like that,
He's speaking generally for what the
what he's
society.
experiences?
It's not even his experiences. Some of the shit he's saying is mine, especially from in the power position. I probably witnessed the shit more than he does.
Interesting.
Like it's like this. It's simply like this, right? Like most, and I'm not gonna say like when I say most, I don't mean like all fucking women in the world. I mean like socially, right? We are on social media every day. We're on IG. You know how the algorithms work. You know how the motherfucking ass shots, titties, and the vacations and the ballers and the blue checks. Let's not be, you know what I'm saying, retarded to what is in our faces every day, right? And depending on who you follow, whatever the fuck, I don't care who you follow. If you followed all motherfucking doctors and all lawyers, and then you follow Shade Room, nigga, you're still in the motherfucking trash with the lawyers, right? So what I'm saying is that the finish line syndrome or whatever the fuck he called it is a real fucking thing, right? Because everybody, all like a lot of these women these days, which is like generation, what is it, fucking Z? A lot of
Yep.
Generation Z women and some millennials are not Savannah James kind of women. They are fucking meet you at the fucking finish line. Do you have it? Come into the relationship. I need a man to do this and do that and do that. I'm not saying all women. I'm saying a specific kind of woman. And I frequently run into these type of women. Now I do have some good women because I got one of my kids' mom is in nursing school. The other one's been a school teacher for 20 fucking years. So I'm not out here fucking with like bottom of the barrel women. Like I've like picked good women. I got great mothers of my
Incredible
children,
kids.
incredible fucking smart ass straight A student or ass whooping kids, and like that is like the rhetoric for my life. So a lot of shit he's saying is I'm in agreement to, and he's making sense. I'm just trying to understand it. You know what I'm saying? And like
All
so I
right.
fully understand it. So when it's pushed, I could be like, oh, I talked to Power, I talked to Mando, and I talked to Carlos, and this is their front. I'll be able to defend the shit a little bit. I'm not saying I need a motherfucking jacket or a logo, but I'm saying that he's making a lot of sense. You know what I'm saying? And
All
I
right. Well,
almost
speaking
might.
of doctors,
But again, like I hear you on your front, and like I'm saying, one of my best friends in life is a woman, and she ain't part of the Black Brotherhood, and she got her own opinion, and she's a strong, opinionated, aggressively speaking, and very educated Black woman, and so I'm fucking in support of her and the Black sisterhood if it was a thing, right? So it's just like I'm just trying to understand it from all sides so that I can better navigate because I just don't have black brother, like my sons have a Black brotherhood, right? Like they're two Black children, but I also have a daughter, so I can't just be like, yo, nigga, we over here with my sons and like fuck you, my daughter, like nah. So I have to be educated on both sides, both fronts, so that I can properly parent. That's why the fuck I'm listening.
well, speaking of doctors, Dr. Keisha, are you there?
I am.
Good morning, darling. How are you? Good to see
Good
you.
morning. I'm glad you're back on here having a good conversation.
I got a couple phone calls. Niggas was like, maybe you should come back. So, you've been here for a while. You've heard some things. What, from like, I don't know, a biological, mental health perspective, what are your reflections?
I will tell you from a relationship perspective too. The McGriddle sandwich, my husband better not get a McGriddle sandwich for me, first of all.
No.
Try a little bit more healthy than that power, but
I mean, but
in all
he was
honesty,
talking from like a financial,
Thank you.
a financial point of view. Like like if you were like
Exactly.
basically I'm a nigga from the hood, and I would appreciate if I'm not really saying no names, but I'm just using Keisha because I think it's a strong black hood name. If Keisha hit me and was like, "Baby, I'm at McDonald's. You want a McGriddle?" I'm like, "Fuck yeah, thank you. I love you. Like I'll see you in a minute." And
Exactly.
that is the reality for a
oh,
lot of black for a lot of black couples coming up in these areas in Chicago, Los Angeles, these
All
areas,
right,
these
let
hood
her cook.
areas,
Let her cook, bro.
you
Let
know
her cook.
you see
niggas.
that? Um,
Yeah.
the interesting thing that Mira was saying, first of all, I hear the passion, but I hear the anger. And it's kind of concerning because a lot of us could go from the anger we've had in past relationships. Like, we could all go there to that point. But what the pivot is that, first of all, no sex, no gender is better than the other, which you kind of put in there as this hierarchical system, which is gone from this generation, right? We have to realize we should be on the same playing field, no matter what roles you want your significant other to have. You can't come from this point where, I'm better, or all men are to uplift all women and to go down, because that's hilarious to me. I actually see the difference. The minute I find or found in my past a negative relationship, I went the other way. You really do attract what you have gone, or what you have healed from or not healed from. And I think in your case, still having that anger towards whatever those bad relationships or those money sinking women were is still part of what you're having, because the more you say it, the more elevated you get. And of course, if I look at that website, that doesn't reflect that at all. You seem more like a Kevin Samuels type of conversation, and I think that that's the problem, because for black women and black men, we do need to be more on accord. There are F ups, and like the game, he mentioned his F ups. He mentioned, I used to be like this, I used to think this way, but I didn't hear that coming from you. I think we all need to realize our F ups, our problems, and then say, how can we get better from that? Because there's been bad men, but I'll tell you, my husband, he has his days, he has his bad things, but he's freaking amazing. And our roles are actually switched, because when I was in training, he was at home with the kids. And he didn't have a problem with that, but we still had to have that respect for each other. I can't come from that. And I wasn't a finished man. I've been with him since the beginning, to the middle and to the end. But we just got to have a little bit more respect on each gender, I think, because there's some amazing women. I don't see these men and these women because I literally continue on. I notice it, right? But I continue on and elevate with people that just are above or trying to elevate me as well. And I think you really need to come from that, because what you're rid of the negative. Okay, well, you know what? There are women like this, but how can they get better? But how can I get better? Because I agree, if you dust up all those cobwebs and everything, you'll find out some faults that you may need to. And anger actually is something. What we do with our anger is a problem. And letting it manifest, one day it'll come out in the wrong way.
Can I
You
respond?
know, could I say something, Power? Just one sentence
Yeah,
here,
good.
and I'm gonna shoot it to you.
And I want to hear from
I
Carlos.
wonder if Malcolm X was perceived as angry, right?
He was.
Right? Or anti, right? He was, right? Right? But what
So was
was he
Martin.
facing? What was he facing? Subjugation, exploitation. And to come at power, as far as him being angry, he has a right to be. He
Yeah.
watches his brothers go through this.
Okay, but
Go ahead,
Mando,
Power.
so this, wait, hold on. But Mando, this is
I'm
something
sorry.
that comes with not fully knowing the history of things, right? And really getting into things. Because if you watch the documentaries, one of the things that Malcolm was actually really, really good at was pivoting and expanding his delivery of information, of intention, and of goals as he got more information and as he learned more and as he healed more. Malcolm before Mecca versus Malcolm after Mecca versus Malcolm post Mecca and the end of his life are very different versions of Malcolm Little. Very different versions and of Malcolm X. So that's all we're trying to impart to him. We're not telling him to. As a black woman, I quiet rage all the time, all of the time. But I've also learned from being the only in a lot of really influential, affluent spaces with tons of resources. I just came back from one that humans are creatures of emotion. And so to be effective, sometimes you have to be able to mitigate that rage, that anger, that frustration. It's not any less valid to be effective. She just told him that what is illustrated on the mission, just as I told him, is not necessarily coming through in the exchanges and the rhetoric. That is the delivery. And I'm not saying you have to be any less of those things. We're just pointing out, okay, hey, if this is what you're setting out to do, when you explain it like this, we kind of get you. We hear where you're coming from. We understand that. We see what you see. But when you start to go off the deep end with women are this and only finish line and all of these other things, you're getting farther away from your mission and focusing on what you don't want. And because you're focusing on what you don't want and you keep speaking life to it, because every time you speak to it, you're breathing more life into it, you're getting away from the very mission you're intending to fulfill. Does that make sense?
It makes sense, but the only issue is that I am pro black, but I'm not pro all blacks. I'm pro women, but I'm not pro all women. I don't see anything wrong with that.
How?
I'm not saying all women are a monolith. I'm not saying here trying to denigrate all women. I'm just simply saying that a lot of women have parasitic tendencies. A lot of women are economic vampires. A lot of women drain men. A lot of women extract resources from men without pouring back into men. So I'm not saying it's all women. I'm just simply saying that I am pro women. If you read the mission statement, yes, I want to collaborate with women, but women who are sensible, women who are intelligent, women who are formidable. I don't want to collaborate with women who are expecting men to do
Okay, but
everything
that's a
for them.
given.
Tag
Like
me
what's
in, sis.
understood doesn't have to be explained, right? So like both me and Game have said to you is like, yeah, we know these things exist. We just choose not to operate with them. So
And I agree with you.
so how can you make a contradictory statement? I'm pro black but not all blacks. So you're semi pro black?
I'm pro black, but not I'm not pro all blacks, and there's
Okay,
nothing
so
wrong with
let
that.
me give you an example that might be problematic, and I know somebody's going to start a room about me, right? Okay, when it comes to Alphabet City, and I say that affectionately, I love y'all, and I watch what they say
Is that how you gonna tag?
is,
That's how you gonna tag me in? All right.
listen, I'm going to tag you, boo boo, but this is how we going to do. And they say that the most oppressed and persecuted and just in danger of all of us in the letters are the T's. Transgender people of color, particularly mostly black, right? And I'm like, okay, I can understand that. Even though you guys have existed, people disagree with your existence, whatever. Cool. Now you're introducing non binary. Cool. I have the same argument with them. If you want to move to a non binary, new gender world, why do I have to change definition of woman and a female, right? If that's your goal, why don't you start telling me what the new world is instead of trying to fit it into the old world? If the old just male and female world is outdated, it's limiting to human existence, cool. If we're leaving that in the past, where are we going? And I'm constantly confronted with no, women needs to include this, that, and the other, and blah, 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 blah. But you just told me that that is outdated. So why are we still trying to fit into it? So again, I turn it back to you. If these are the things that you're doing, you're not interested in the people who are still caught up in the matrix. You only want to move forward with these forward-thinking people. Why are you still addressing the people that you want to leave
Because
behind?
those people,
Because if you were really rising up to the example, you wouldn't even have to talk about them. Like I don't have to get on the stage and be like, I'm not the type of bitch that ba 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 boom bop bop weave bap boop boop finish line this that. No, I get on the stage. I'm Mir. I speak my consciousness, and it's very evident I'm not the one.
yeah, but the only issue is that energy is infectious, and those
And that
whole
is exactly what I'm pointing out to you.
and that what I'm pointing out to you
Your
is that the reason.
energy is misaimed.
No, I'm saying no, it's not misaimed. I'm saying that energy is infectious, and the same women I'm talking about, they're infecting all the good women, right? They're influencing all the good women,
How?
and that's the
Mm,
problem.
Okay,
That's
Hey
the
yo,
issue.
hey yo, that
Here,
is
let's talk. Let's.
that happened to me.
Dr.
That happened
Keisha,
to
are you
me.
getting
Gabe, I'm
Thank you,
gonna
invested?
game.
fuck
Wake
you
that
up
up. Wake
tonight.
that
Yeah,
I
up.
no,
really
yo,
am
no,
gonna
y'all
fuck
need
you
to,
up tonight.
Dr.
y'all
King,
mad. Hey yo, y'all mad because the nigga is making some points that should happen to me.
I'm
It's
not
like
mad at you.
I had a good woman, and I'm gonna be quick about it. I had a good woman. We had a fucking good thing,
What,
and
the
her.
Minnesota bitch?
No, hell no, hell no. This is I just said the Minnesota bitch is wild. Yo, that is
oh,
crazy. But anyway, the kid, why it could be the Alaska bitch. But back to what I'm saying. I had a good woman, and her toxic ass friends stole our joy, and she regrets it like 10 years later. You know what I'm saying?
So maybe
Because
she wasn't grown enough.
it's not even about that. It's just
It can't
about
circle the
service.
block.
No, it's just about servicing what he just said, and that's it. And I'm out.
and the game,
Not-
this is Elijah, and what you just told was a personal story, a testimony from your lived experience. What Mir was trying to impart to Power a few minutes ago was about these sort of sweeping generalizations. Women do this, men need this. This is this, this is this, and this is why it's not landing in the way, and it's not going to land in the way that you think that it's going to land. Because if you think a 501c3, if you don't think an IRS is going to check
Is
you on
gonna
this,
interrogate.
girl, honey, this is more like a church. You're giving cult. I'm telling you, on a
Yeah,
legal
that's the
stand, all you
plan. The
have is a
plan is
cult.
that to create a
Now
cult.
let me finish.
Oh,
All you have.
I
You've
want to
had the
create a
whole
cult.
moment. You've had the whole moment, and so it's fine that it's a cult, but it's a different legal standing than a
Colts
private
don't get
foundation, than a
Yes, they do.
private
Colts can get
foundation
501.
than a
name one.
private foundation or a public charity. So these are neither of these things. And then another reason why I believe that your message is not landing, and some of it is that it does come off as unhealed from my perspective, right? So what I'm seeing is a conflict, right? And in business, whether it's philanthropy or corporate business, you're trying to solve a problem and fill a niche. In your situation, I guess you're kind of staging it as a conflict, but this conflict is still yet unresolved in your own head, and everybody sees it, everybody feels it. It will never get attached to any funding in its current state, even if the wording is right. You blow up like this in a meeting, you're gonna the funding's gonna walk right out the
We'll
door.
see about that.
And so that's just that on you know on like the communication style, right? And so here's the other things that people have been trying to point out, right, that maybe you're not seeing in this moment. Mir has been really checking a lot of this, is that we build our lives based on what we believe. And so when you create these sweeping generalizations and stories about all women outside of your own traumatic experiences that may have been with women that led you to some of these conclusions. When you create these stories, you've created a world that you're walking into. So you're not going to create any kind of allies or anything that you think that you're going to attract in this particular manner. I am not here for, your particular cult. I believe that everyone has the right to Corey. I believe everybody has the right to create a cult of belief. I've seen white boys create a church in DC based on sharing, and they called it a church. Create a legal state. You can create a lot of belief systems, right? But just know it's not a belief, and just know it's not an absolute. And when you talk about creating a dysfunctional temporary
It's not
situation
dysfunctional.
for a permanent, happy forever after, it just doesn't. The math ain't
The
mathing.
The
math
So
is
this is
dysfunction
Elijah
lies in
Craig,
the
and I'm done.
disconnect. He's not calling you dysfunctional.
I know.
He's illuminating the disconnect that we're trying to express is where something can't be functional unless everything's
So Mick,
connected.
can I respond real quick? And because I think Carlos want to say something. It's interesting because when men up the ante and have standards, it's all this pushback. right? Now I'm hearing about my communication style, right? I speak with passion, I speak with power. When men speak like me, it's a problem. What am I saying that's problematic? I'm telling men to raise their standards. I'm telling men that we need to do some reverse engineering. It's women that should be holding our doors. It's women that should be taking us out to dinner. It's women that should be proposing to us. We bring more value
And
to
if
the
this
table.
wasn't
Okay,
my
so
space,
wait,
we
wait,
would
wait,
have
I'm
wait.
not
Hold
gone
on, hold
into
finished.
the
on, hold on,
game
hold on,
How
hold on,
allowing
dare
us
hold
you?
to
on,
How
debate
hold
dare
this
on,
you?
hold
highly
on. Both of you gonna
contentious
shut the
shell.
fuck up. Elijah, thank you. Now here, be very fucking clear. To be a good leader, you have to build more leaders. That's one. Number two, to be an effective leader, you have to ask more questions than you make more statements.
Message.
Number three, you can speak with power, intention, clarity, and effectiveness and not have to get an aggressive manner that turns people off and illustrates that you are more angry than interested in being effective. If you noticed, we are taking the time to understand you. We are not bashing you. We are not telling you you are wrong. We are actually offering you advice to be more effective and achieve your goals. Now, if that is not something you can understand, we can stop this right now and go back to pussy and bullshit and talking shit on this Monday morning. We could even go to playing music. But what you're not going to do in my space, because I'm not like these clubhouse folks, this isn't for numbers. I don't want none of y'all motherfuckers to follow me. We are taking time to understand you, to perhaps support you, like my man Game is consistently doing here, and actually help you get better from this conversation. Nobody is attacking you, nobody is policing your tone. We are illustrating to you how to be an effective leader. They called you a leader, you call yourself that, you want to be powerful. Power comes with responsibility, discipline, and practice, my
Hey
brother.
yo,
But
and
no, Maya,
hey,
Maya,
hey,
I wasn't coming
It's
at you.
Mir.
yo,
It's
Mir,
three
hey yo,
letters.
hey
It should
Ma,
power.
not
Mir,
be that
Hey,
hard.
and look,
Mir,
power to just
Mir, I
jump.
wasn't coming at you. I was coming at Elijah, but
I know, but you're coming in my space and
okay,
you're
my
shifting
bad,
the
my
energy.
bad.
So I'm
Yeah, but
checking
look,
the
I'm excited.
energy.
My
but look,
bad, my bad.
even look, coming off of what Mir was saying, power is that it is from her position, right? And you and what you can't teach in like you cannot teach, you can't teach wisdom, right? You get wisdom with age. I don't care what nobody says in any culture, any race. You get wise as you progress in life, right? And you can only get the most wise by like by going through shit, right? This is how you learn. And so with Mir just being, and I'm not saying that you're not educated at 27, you don't know what you're talking about. I already gave you props on that. But from her perspective, being a 38-year-old black woman, and then mine's being basically big bro in here, right? Because I've been alive for 43, almost 44 years, meaning that I'm 16, 17 years older than you. And so obviously, I've been through a little more life than you have. I'm not gonna say situations, right? Like I could have got shot 7 times, you could have got shot 19 times, which means that if we talking about bullets, nigga, you the big bro, right? But no, I'm just talking about years on the earth, right? And so some of this stuff is coming from a place of we just might have a different handle on it because we've just been around a little bit longer than you and have dealt with all things in the realm of what we're talking about more frequently than you have. So it's not like no attack. It's just straight, just wisdom being passed down from somebody who just might know a little bit more about some other shit than you do. So we don't got to attack each other. We don't got to come for nobody. This is one of those open spaces where everybody can just be honest and we can do this shit, aggressively and powerfully without like making the other person feel like shit. You know what I'm saying?
I agree.
What's up, Mir? Can I jump in real quick?
Appreciate that. Now, before you do, we said we were going to come to Carlos. Now, Carlos, you've been here a while. What made you join the Black Brotherhood?
What's good? What's good? Um, to be honest, yeah, it's to me, I kind of resonated with the message. Like, I speak to Power regular. He knows, like, I kind of get